Hello and welcome to the last episode of 2023 for the WRRAP episode. With me, as always, full crew this evening. We've got Jamie, James, and Harley. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good
evening.
And I'll take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Christmas and all of that kind of stuff. Now, those of you watching on YouTube will see that we're all in festive jumpers. I've got my little snowflake there. James has got, so Harley's got a Grinch. James has got like a mishmash of Father Christmases, and that's a next jumper, that isn't it, James? That's next.
No, Tesco.
Okay, it's got next right. Jamie's, I'm loving the story behind Jamie's. Where did you get yours from, Jamie?
So this is a Nutella Christmas jumper, and I won it through a Tesco promotion. So basically, you buy a jar of Nutella, you scan the receipt to Nutella, and then you get entered into a prize draw to win one of their jumpers. And yeah, I won it last week. So it's very nice, and it's very comfy as well. Lovely jumper. And it was free, which is even better.
So Jamie no longer wants to be sponsored by Tiny Rebel. He now wants to be sponsored by Nutella because he's got the shirt with the branding on the front, so he can.
I don't even eat the stuff though. It's my daughter that eats it. I gave it for her, and
No,
it's
you
costing me a lot of money.
Jamie. That's how sponsorship works.
Nutella
You could
is
be like
so
the
expensive.
You could be like Scarlett's and have like thousands.
Mm.
I mean, if Nutella want to sponsor me, that's absolutely fine. But I won't eat it. My daughter will. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, my kids do too. They go through bloody acres of the stuff. It's beyond.
And it's got to be Nutella. She won't eat the branded stuff. We tried it with a supermarket brand. No, it's got to be Nutella. And she knows the difference. If you did a blind taste test, she'll know.
And she knows the jumper. Yeah, well,
of course.
It's the jumper. Right. So, speaking of sponsorship and what have you, I'm going to go first on drink of the week this week because I have got a whole load of stuff still left in the fridge from birthday drinks from my younger boy, but then my older boy bought me some like proper local beer stuff. So he's in Swansea Uni. So I've got a bottle of Gower Brewery Shipwreck this evening, which I quite like, to be fair. I quite like the Gower Brewery. It's a shame they're based in Swansea, to be honest. So this is an easy drinking, uncomplicated golden ale using only floor malted Maris Otter barley and 2 hop varieties to give a light bitter touch, a fresh citrus aroma, and a warming malty finish. Whereas I would say it tastes quite nice. So yeah. It is actually okay. It's a decent beer.
I just liked James' reaction there. Oh, when you said you.
I love
the Gower beer.
stuff. Gower Gold was my cheap drink in university. And fun fact about the Gower Brewery is they have a sevens team, managed by the Ospreys Keelan Giles. It's full of ex-Swansea Uni rugby players and alum. They do loads of seven stuff around the country.
See, now he tells me this. I've just spent a month putting together the fucking quizzes, and now you come up with that. Right, James, what is your drink of the week, my friend?
The back to the Commonly large bottles. This week we're going for a Corona. It was this or
Budweiser. You have tiny hands.
I have massive hands, mate. This is a Commonly large bottle of Corona.
Is there any lemon or lime in that?
There's not. I didn't have any. I was gutted. I was going to go to the shop, but I didn't fancy a Budweiser. No, you're all right.
I don't like drinking Corona if you haven't got a slice of lemon or lime in it. It just don't taste right to me.
I don't like drinking Corona anyway, but it's just handy.
Yeah.
It was there. Jamie, what have you got, mate?
Well, I got something from up North Wales. I have got a Wrexham lager.
Oh, well done. Well done.
And I'm actually going to Wrexham this weekend. I'm going up there to watch Wrexham versus Newport County, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh,
that's the first time that sort of derby's happened in a while.
Yeah, too right. And I'm looking forward to it. I like Wrexham lager anyway. It used to be very hard to get hold of, but they do it in all Tesco stores in Wales now. And it was on offer, so I bought a box. And it's just really, really nice. And like I said, it's a Welsh lager. I like this slogan here: brewed in Wales, enjoyed everywhere. #Wrexham Lager. Good stuff. Have any of you tried Wrexham Lager before?
I don't venture to the lager section. I do the bitter section and the proper beer, and then proper beers with attitude, and then I might stray to cider every now and
you
again.
Are what you drink.
You can tell you're a Scarlets fan, can't you? You go straight to the bitter bit.
Oh, fair dude. Harley, what have you got? Well, let's start with Harley decided to take a week off mid-pod last week to spend with family time. Jesus, honest to God. So Harley's not doing his baby sham fine, and Harley gave us an option of which of his ridiculous drinks he should be fined with this week. And so, what have you been fined with, Harley?
So for this week, I've got for the Blackadder fans, the purest green. This is Elf Gin Liqueur. So it's a Christmas gin liqueur I got off my auntie a couple of years ago. I mean, bless her, like she found out I like gin, so she keeps buying me these really horrible sweet flavored gins. But I'm very much like Brecon gin is my gold standard gin to drink because I like a nice clean gin. So this is elderflower, lime, and fig. So it's 20%. So it's a liqueur. So in theory, it's drinkable. So I've got a little bit in my glass. I try to just see what it is, and then some tonic to wash it. Some tonic and some Thatcher's Rascal to wash it away because we had a sip before we came on air, and it was not great.
It's the face that does it for me, Harley.
It doesn't look nice.
I have drunk some foul things in foul ways, and that just the pure sweetness plus the floral is unbelievably bad. And you need to stop trying to find us with baby sham. No one under the age of 68 drinks baby sham or knows where to buy it. It's just you, Lee.
You have to ask for it. You have to. I think the last time I bought it as a joke to give it to a mate, and we happened to see it on the shelf, and we went, "Oh my God, they still make baby sham." So we bought a little pack of 4, and we took it round to a mate's house, and we gave it to him as a joke. I can't even remember what the joke was, and then we kind of like all shared it out. So there we go. Then we'll all have a bottle each. Oh my fucking Lord, it was awful. It was awful. So that's why baby sham is a fine, because it is about the worst drink I think I've ever tasted.
I said I can send this round everyone's houses and they can have that.
No, you're all right.
You're right, it's worth.
Don't bother.
I think even James, as a fellow gin drinker, turning his head at that one.
Do you think they came up with the name? Let's make a gin and call it Elf, and then they found things to fit in, or did they go? Do you know what? We've got elderflower. Yeah.
Also, for anyone who is a bit of an aficionado with their whiskies, I am using whiskey stones to keep it cool because we never have frozen ice. Well, they were sold as gin stones, but yeah, and I think it's melting the gin stones. They're definitely looking a bit round.
It's looking radioactive.
Right.
Jamie, it's worse than when you drink Monster Energy and it turns your piss green. Like it's sort of that sort of colour.
Okay.
Yeah, so to wash it down, I do have a very nice medium dry cider.
I think we found the level for this evening's show, gents. It's quite low. Let's be honest. Right.
Like the Scarlet's attacking ability.
Oh, we aren't there yet. Right, Jamie, take us through there's actually been, seeing as we're mid-season, there's actually been a fair bit of news this week. So what have you got for us this week, my friend?
Oh, shall we start with the checkbook Charlies in the capital? Let's go there first. So, Cardiff have confirmed their takeover is set to be completed after Helford Capital Limited acquired a majority shareholding in the club. So contracts have been exchanged with the investment group that's being spearheaded by British businessmen Phil Kemp and Neil Griffith. A general meeting is going to be called. Apparently it's going to be sometime in January to approve the transaction. Cardiff Athletic Club are retaining a minority interest as well. The Cardiff head coach, Matt Sherrod, I was looking at his comments and he said something quite interesting. So he said, it means the club is on stable ground. It's not going to be a Chelsea football situation, and we are not going to be signing Anton Dupont, which is going to disappoint a lot of Cardiff fans, I know. But we want to build foundations. So, yeah, it all looks like it's going to go ahead. It's been given the all clear by the WRU. So, yeah, Harley, you get the first word on this then. Good news. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that it's come out. I mean, the timing was a bit weird because it was released basically immediately after the Bath game. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe they were hoping for a win and, it'd be this huge celebration. But, I mean, it still works out quite well. In the statement, they said the focus is going to be on development and ensuring the facilities for the pathway. And I think that's the right way to spend it. I don't think just buying in players is going to necessarily solve our problems. I think, to make the club more sustainable, we do need the facilities. It seems that they've got Cardiff Athletic Club's blessing, which maybe might lead to the long-term lease required for redevelopment at the ground, which again is something that we need to generate revenue. There's a lot of plans that it's sort of like a business conference in having some conference facilities. So that'll, overall good news. One guy's been involved with Cardiff since a nipper. The other guy's sort of been a fan for a while, so it's not like some random Middle Eastern sheikh like everyone was worried about. That's at least at least a problem. I don't feel like I've been completely sport washed. It's only slightly less blood money. It's not really a lot to say until after the AGM and we see what happens.
So
the priority is going to be the priority is going to be the lease, because I did read an article with Sean Barry and he's interviewing these guys, and he said the first priority is to renegotiate a brand new lease for Cardiff Athletic Club. So don't worry about trying to sign any Tom, Dick and Harry. Get that bloody sorted first, because that's the most important thing, isn't it?
I think again it's the wrong way to go anyway. I think, and most of the people I talk to involved with CF10 and the fans, as much as we'd love to sign a World Barbarian side, what we want is better facilities at CAP, the Pentwyn Leisure Centre development to actually be a professional training environment, not just a slightly done up leisure centre. And then just making sure the pathways are sorted. Like we could do with something to stop the drain of uni students, or uni and A-level age students going off to Gloucester and Bristol academies and Exeter. So hopefully having some sort of team thing with the likes of Heartbreak, where they still come back to us, would be better, but we'll see. I think they were trying. They tried like hell with Emmanuel Faye-Bosa. Probably went to Wasps.
That pissed me off, the Emmanuel Faye-Bosa thing, because Cardiff University, if you had this partnership with Cardiff Rugby, wouldn't have this problem. The fact that he had to go to Birmingham, to Aston University, to get let in, and then obviously was based then in Coventry with Wasps, is fucking ridiculous.
Well, they said the best they could do. Best they could have done was a year deferral, and no good for him.
Swans University actively work with Mike Ruddock in getting these boys over. Right, Will Hickey. All right, he's been injured a lot for the Ospreys, but he's over here actively doing a 4-year engineering degree. Max Nagy was here. These boys are working with, and me and Lee have spoken about this multiple times before, but the Scarlets have used it, but not to its full effect. The fact that Cardiff, the capital city, which has access to, let's face it, 3 universities, because you got
2 of which are Bucks, one of which is like a world class.
2 of which is Bucks, and then but the other one then is renowned for stuff like sports coaching and things like that in USW. The fact that they're not using it is criminal. Is really, really criminal.
And 100% agree that. But I think from what I've heard behind the scenes of the Emmanuel Faye-Bosa thing, it's basically because Cardiff were trying everything they could to get him in, and Cardiff just went, he doesn't meet our criteria. He's just that 1 or 2 below. He can defer it. He can come in next year, maybe, but this year, because again, remember, Cardiff is an incredibly highly thought of medical school, believe it or not. Because a lot of students want to go there because they still do cadet.
They still want to do medical school. a friend of mine's son got into Cardiff Medical School with 4 A's, and he still had to sit an additional test and go for an interview. So
You still have to. There is a test you have to do anyway. There's it's called the MK-CAT. I ended up doing it because stupid. I had a brief moment where I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and then I went, "Hang on, I could be a doctor without having to deal with people." Great. But yeah, with the Emmanuel Faber Bosa, basically that was actually a bit more of the Cardiff University end. Cardiff Rugby actually were trying their hardest to keep hold of him, but there was just pressure from Emmanuel Faber Bosa's family. The thing I found weird was, when Wasp went under, he went to Exeter. We thought, it's like, well, now you're going really far. Like, you could have stayed at Cardiff and gone, but they've probably offered a sweeter deal.
My question was going to be, where does the money actually come from then? Are they guaranteeing that none of it was this rumored Middle East consortium that was going to put a whole load of money in there and create a whole load of issues with financing? Do we know where the money's coming from yet?
I mean, no more than you do from any of these big conglomerates. The only difference is with some of them is that we've got proper faces to the names. So you've got Phil and Neil. Very trusty pair of names, that.
Okay, so we don't actually know where the money's from.
I mean, I don't know. It's an investment firm. It's going to be. It is probably going to be in oil. It's going to be in pharmaceuticals. It's going to be.
All I saw is it's somehow the Ospreys' fault because Y11 are faceless, despite the fact that Y11 is run by a bloke from Swansea and who's a former Welsh hockey player.
This is run by a guy from Cardiff. I mean, I'm not having a go at Y11. I'm just saying that they presented this not as the consortium. They presented this as Phil and Neil.
Certain Cardiff personalities.
I know the ones. They are not. They are not the ones. They are not the ones. They are not the rational people I tend to talk to.
Jamie, just to say before we move on, I'm looking at that article now that Sean Barry wrote, and I think, if you want more information, you should read it. So he's saying the new owners will look to leverage additional finance via their global business interests and networks, particularly in the Middle East. So the money will be coming from the Middle East, according to that article.
Let's be honest, but
of course it is. Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair. It's hard not to. But it is still one of the biggest businesses in the world. Because so much of it, so much of everything we do is oil, is based. Yeah.
Okay.
Owen Robbins going to be fuming.
Right, let's move on quick.
Yes,
Jamie, let's do something else, man.
Yeah. Right. So big news coming out of the Wales camp then. So contact area coach Jonathan Thomas has left the Wales coaching team. He's seeking new and different opportunities after his contract has reached its natural end. So that was the first bit of news. And then guess who's back? Back again. Howler's back. That's right. Rob Howley. He's returning to the Wales coaching staff after a 4-year absence. So Howley, who of course was banned from the game in December 2019 for betting breaches, has been appointed as a technical coach. Howley will also have special responsibility for the men's and boys pathway, working closely with another new coach, a new appointment, Wales under-20s head coach Richard Whiffen, which is a very good appointment, I think. So here we are then. Howler's back.
Snigger every time.
Whiffen, yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it?
Whiffen.
How do we feel about Howley coming back, though?
Yeah. Whiffen was a pile of shit for us.
He's regarded as a good coach,
though. Are you sure it's not the coach and the players? Because every coach seems to be fucking shit with you.
Back in those days, our forwards used to give the ball to the backs and go, here's a load of space to run into. And the only teams we could beat were fucking Cardiff and the Ospreys. He just fucked up everything.
But he's highly regarded, though, in the game. You speak to people, he is highly regarded. He's highly thought of. So
was Howley. And Howley was a bag of shit at Canada. So
as Kingsley Jones is doing now, is that something to do with Howley?
But if he was that good, if he was that good, then he would have been able to do something in Canada. You can take a bunch of players. If you're a decent enough coach, you can take a bunch of players and you can do something with them. Not degrade them out of the top 10 and then lucky that they're still in the top 20 in the world. I think it's a negative step. Myself personally, I think it's a negative step. And the bit that pisses me off with Howley, people keep going back to that day when oh, we beat England 30 points to 6. Yeah, England were piss poor that day. We got lucky, 30 points to 3. Yeah, so we got lucky. We were playing okay, but the rest of that season we were dog shit. Yeah, Howley's got this idea that you have to keep hold of the ball 90 seconds before you do anything with it at all. Yeah, you cannot pass the ball more than twice for 90 seconds because that's how he plays the game. And you go, seriously, we're a nation that was built and created on fast running, open, expansive, creative play. But we're going to not give it to anyone else other than the forwards for 90 seconds. 90 seconds in rugby is a fucking long time. So
Right,
I
okay,
it's
so-
a negative step.
Am I the only one then on this podcast that thinks Howley coming back is a good thing for Welsh rugby? Or
No,
am
I
on the
think
minority?
it is. I think it is. I think
Why is it a good
that-
thing then, James?
just a bit of familiarity, a bit of it's a bit like Gatlin coming back in. It's familiar. Is it long term growing the game? Absolutely not. I think the fact that he's come in and they've made a big deal about him working with Richard Whiffen is a better thing than Howley just coming back in and sitting with his old cans of diet. Was it? Well, he used to drink Diet Coke, was it? He used to always have like cans of Diet Coke and something like that. But no, I think you look back on that 2013 season where he was head coach. It was a really mixed bag. That was that anomaly game, that 30-3. We played some turgid stuff in that game, apart from 2 moments of brilliance from Tipuric and to Cuthbert, and we were a gnarly and tough team to break down. And obviously the foundations there were laid by Gatlin. But then I actually go back to that game in France in 2013, where we went out to Paris and we were tough. We played the percentages really well. I think he comes back in and he just gives us that sense of familiarity and going back to what we're good at. Because let's be fair, he got sacked on the eve of the World Cup in 2019, right? Does anyone really think that Stephen Jones made any sort of impact during that World Cup? He didn't. That was all Howley, and they were just using what Howley was, and it worked. It worked.
Mm.
I mean, Richard Whiffen, I think, is a really interesting one. He was the attack coach at the Highlanders, and if you are, I know Lee doesn't like him because Scarlets plays for shit for him. If we're, like Lee said, we're a nation built on fast running rugby into space, surely that's where you want someone who is coaching down in Super Rugby as an attack coach. Let's not forget who else was the ex-under-20s coach who was down in New Zealand as an attack coach, Mark Jones. And the under-20s
defense.
Fine. I think defense is fine. The under-20, but what I'm saying is the under-20s last year with Dan Edwards 10 and the likes of that were playing some really expansive stuff. So there's that continuity building as well, and having Howley in his ear, I think is only going to strengthen that.
Howley.
I'm gonna get another comment about how I'm far too political and on the fence with these things, but I want to wait until see things happen, because you can call an appointment. You don't know what. Same as when you sign a new player, they could be absolutely fantastic or they could be utter dog shit until they're actually playing. Until we see the results of this. I think the key thing for me is his specific remit is a link between the under-20s and suggesting this development, which I think is something a lot of us can agree hasn't really happened. You either get players who just get plucked out and they're thrown in, or they just fall by the wayside. We can all probably name one. We might be able to name one player who was great in the under-20s, got pulled up, got discarded, and then probably even more who basically they played really well in the 20s and then never really broke through in the region. Went somewhere else, and that was the end of it.
But the under-20s.
So I think that
the under-20s, right? they all train in the same place, same facility, same coaches, all of that kind of stuff with the seniors. The senior
Do they?
managers, train. Their offices are in the same building where the under-20s are training. When they get bored, they stand out on the balcony and watch the under-20s, the under-18s, the under-16s, or whatever, training indoors. Yeah, they've got all the stuff from the under-20s and all the stuff from the under-18s. That's all in the system. That all gets processed in the system, and it gets put on a screen in front of them, so they can pick the players that they're watching. They can see who's fittest. They can see who's strong. They got all of this sort of stuff, and then they see them there. Yeah. How the fuck we haven't had somebody before that manages that system and just looks at a spreadsheet and goes, these are the top players in these positions. They're in the building. You guys need to watch them. Yeah.
I can tell you how. We've been run by accountants, glazers, and ex-geography teachers. That's where this has come from. Is the fact we've had, if they can turn up the training, if they make it, fine, yeah, whatever. We'll have about 20 more minis and juniors coming up.
Yeah, but
when's my next meal with my wife on a separate bus?
Yeah, but for 12 years, Gatland had absolutely everything that he wanted. He literally needed to go, I want this, and it was done. Yeah, you can't turn around now and say that.
You say that, but you didn't,
it's changed.
Because he wanted an 8-team elite Premiership, and what happened was we ended up with 16 teams because the clubs rebelled. Because any major structural change like that had to be ratified.
Yeah, but this isn't major structural change. This is.
But it is. It is because it's a big senior appointment, and
Gatland also had a golden generation.
Yeah,
Gatland never needed players that
would develop.
Gatland never needed to call on the under-20s
because
there was a golden generation and a drip feed enough of coming through. All right, let's just think. Right, Ian Goff's retiring. Don't worry, we've got Jake Ball coming in. No, Bradley Davis is still around, but we're gonna put him on the back burner. Adam Beard's gonna come in. Things like that. So he had a golden generation with enough of a drip feed coming through from the under-20s. The last great under-20s team we had was the 2016 under-20s, which was Leon Brown, Adam Beard, Ruben Morgan-Williams, loads of these different players who are playing regional rugby now, and a lot of them are in the Wales squad. After that, there was nothing. Who left not long after that was Gatland. It just dried up. There's only been dribs and drabs now, and it's showing. So now when we've got, go on, Paddy.
I was just saying, yeah, the part of the reason that dried up is because they basically just stopped giving a shit about the under-20s. Look what happened with Mark Jones. Really good foundations. Oh no, Osprey's gonna have him now. It's like the under-20s was just a holding pen for people to go up the chain. It's not. They weren't actually thinking of it as like if you look, we're not going to be anything like Leinster. I mean, the whole of Wales maybe just about could do it, but like no region could do it. But like you've got to work so many levels, and actually being a coach at St. Michael's College or the Sub Academy is still a big fucking deal because they've got people there who are specialists at developing young players. Not every coach is going to be a mastermind of a Champions Cup winning team. Or you might have some coaches who are really good at working out how to get that player from a all right AIL player to someone who you can stick on the bench. At the URC, you've got another player guy who can get them up to that Champions Cup squad. But we sort of neglected. I mean, I know it starts down at the community game and through, but we seem to just be like, right, Gatland's got what he wants for Team Wales. That'll do. We don't need to worry about that. It's not Gatland's fucking job to tell the WRU, get the development going. Because as long as he's got enough for that, he's doing his job. And, and now we're finally seeing that being corrected. Hopefully it's going to cause some pain. We're going to have to deal with it. So I think Rob Howley's a step in the right direction. But we're going to need a year or two to see if it's working. There's no point just saying, oh, he's a shit fucking attack coach. Well, he's not the attack coach. It doesn't matter. What we need to know is he good enough at identifying talent and pulling it through? And we can't see what he was like at Canada as an example, because they saw their players about 5 minutes on a Zoom call because that's just how Kingsley Jones ran it. And, as an assistant, you're only, at the end of the day, your head coach has the final say. And Rugby Canada seem absolutely adamant they're just going to try and run it into the ground.
Okay, let's move on.
Before we go on wrap, there's no point blaming one person when basically the whole system's been shit for years.
Howley's still shit. Let's move on. What's next, Jim?
He's not shit at all. Right, let's move on then. Disappointing news as well last week, unfortunately. So Samson Lee has been forced to retire, aged just 31, following a long-standing Achilles injury. Now, he did play for Llandovery, didn't he, in the Welsh Premiership back in May, but he hasn't played for the Scarlets since suffering the injury. Samson played 164 matches for the Scarlets across 12 seasons, and he went on to win 45 caps for Wales, playing in the 2015 World Cup, and was a member of the Grand Slam winning side of 2019. So, unsurprising news, but still pretty disappointing to see a young person, retire through injury. I've always said, and I've said on this pod before, when fit, he was Wales' best scrummaging tight head, and it's a real shame this for me.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised that he's only 31. I genuinely, because he's been around for, like you say, over 10 years, and he came through really young. My favourite Samson Lee story, I might have told this before, but I'm going to quickly tell this again, was Samson Lee, when he was coming through, he'd just come out of academy, and they were giving Samson Lee media training. Yeah. So they said, right, so, when they ask you this, it's basically how to say nothing and all this kind of, and whatever you do, don't swear, but, you just got to try and be courteous to the opposition and compliment the opposition. And but, your boys did well. Stick with those. Those are the kind of the rules, and off you go. But whatever you do, don't swear. Yeah, okay, yeah. So he won a man of the match, his second or third game. And BBC come to him and they go, so Samson, man of the match, how was today? Oh, it's fucking amazing it was.
He actually said that.
Apparently, yeah. He didn't use it. And all the media team are like, oh, fuck. So he was never allowed to do any interviews after that. He was always blacklisted off interviews and stuff. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things. We always said an Achilles injury is hard to recover from when you're a prop, because the whole point of the prop is you're connecting the top up with the floor and all of that pressure going through that Achilles. So yeah, gutted, but not unforeseen. Not unforeseen. So yeah.
No. Okay, and then let's move on to the last story and then last bit of news. So 2 weeks ago, Leon Brown was linked with a move to Bristol. That's what the rugby paper was reporting. And on the weekend just gone now, they're saying that Aaron Wainwright could be the next Dragon to be leaving Wales. So he's been linked with a move to Bristol or Leicester. Both clubs have spoken to him. Wainwright does have 46 caps, I believe, so he'll be fine to play for Wales if he did move over the bridge. I would be absolutely gutted if Wainwright left the Dragons, because he is my favourite Dragons player. That would be a huge blow for the Dragons and for Welsh rugby. But there's another piece of information in this report that I find equally worrying. So they're saying that internationals, a lot of them, they're only being offered deals of between 60k and 80k in Wales. And they're looking for starting props at 100k and 130k. So, if we're only offering between 60k and 80k, it's going to be very difficult to convince these boys to stay in Wales when they can get double R over the bridge, can't they? So, worrying news for me. Like I said, I love Aaron to bits. I would completely understand if he did move, to Bristol or Leicester. They're both great clubs. The Premiership's a good league. But I'd find it pretty upsetting if he did. But we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But
Leicester definitely have an opening at 8. So it's not surprising they call him.
Let's not forget.
Can I just make one point though about the weight, the international wages? They're saying 60 to 80k. You're probably going to get offered double that if you're an international standard, to be in the second or third choice in an English or French team. The money you'd get from Wales wouldn't even cover that loss. It's not like England where they get 25 grand an appearance.
Yeah, but they're changing the England setup now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point, even then you're not going to get a huge amount. Even then, you're not going to get that money from Wales. And
So,
it's like,
yeah,
well, is actually playing for Wales worth it?
the England
Just,
setup
is
now is 130k over a year, and your image rights are capped at, I believe, about 23 grand. So it's still a lot of money. In terms of Aaron, it's a real. I think Leicester would be the perfect club for him. You know, him, Tommy Raffel, he's got Handel Lienenberg in there. You know, proper gnarly forwards orientated club. My only worry is going to England is, this is more with Bristol, the financial sustainability of that league.
Yeah.
That
was going to be my point, James.
Yeah, is everyone who's going to England now, I'm like, yes. And let's be fair, clubs like Leicester and Bristol are probably safe. Yeah. They're not going anywhere.
Leicester, not so much Bristol, as long as they've got and Bath, it's as long as they've got their madman billionaires.
But Bristol is 100-odd million in debt or something like that.
Yeah,
without that backing, they're gone.
It's a weird one, like when Cardiff were in debt to Peter Thomas.
Yeah,
and there's no chance of them ever calling up on the debt. That's the thing, because it's all owned to. Is it Stuart Lansdowne who for Bristol?
I can't remember.
Or is he the Bath guy?
But I used to live in Bristol.
Whoever owns Bristol, he basically he owes himself money.
Yeah, but
is how it works out because of the way they have to inject money into the club.
But you look at how many English clubs have gone bust. You know, Exeter have been rumours around. You know, they're in trouble.
Newcastle.
A couple of the others, yeah, Newcastle, Sale. You know, there's all the rumours around all these. You know, Bristol's in a massive amount of debt. I used to live in Bristol. I used to work in Bristol. Used to live just outside Bristol. The last time they were in financial trouble when this guy came in, you know, and they got relegated, and when they were Bristol Rhinos, I think it was. So you know, nothing's impossible. It's all relying on that one guy. So for, you know, we'll talk about an Anglo-Welsh league and all of that kind of stuff another time, but when it suits English rugby, an Anglo-Welsh or an Anglo-Irish league will be back on the table, and that point is not too far away, because English rugby is suffering from French rugby. Yeah, and so, you know, I make no bones about it. If Wainwright goes, if any of the others go, then yeah, that's the way it is. You just got to live with it. You've got to move on, but don't be under any illusion that English rugby's in this mad, fantastic, amazing place, because it really, really isn't. It really, really isn't.
Yeah, I had supporters saying, "Oh, it'd be good for Leicester. It'd be good for Bristol." Like, fuck off! I don't want him to leave. I don't care if he's a good fit for your club. I want him in my club. He's a brilliant player. But like I said, if he leaves,
tell Dave,
fair play to him.
To give him shares. Give him shares in the Dragons.
Leicester were in for Justin Tipuric a few years ago, and I was genuinely ready to chain myself to the gates of Llandarcy just to keep him there. I was like, you fucking dare take him off me. Like,
but we've all got players like that.
Those gates are rusted, mate. You could have just popped them off on the corner.
But the gates don't do anything. You can walk around the fucking gates. Like, the gates are useless. You can walk around them.
Yeah.
Like, they're not connected to anything.
Exactly. They're just a pair of gates with a gap on the side.
I was going
to say some guys from Port Talbot and nick them.
Yeah.
Right. Have we got anything else in the news desk, Jim?
Unless you want to go, there's something that's just come up about a potential to make the Six Nations a Category A sport event. So there's a bill going to the Commons about so it's not gone through yet. It's just an MP's brought it up. I haven't got all the details, but it's something I remember reading on break this afternoon. And so they're looking at making it so that you have to play at least any game involving one of the 4 home nations on free-to-air TV, which I do think is a good idea. I think we do need to accept that a lot of stuff's going to have to go to pay-per-view, but as long as we can keep some free-to-air, and I think Six Nations is probably the right competition for that.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think that's it then for the news.
Yeah. Cool. Oof. It's the time of year when a lot of contract negotiations happen and all that kind of stuff. So news is going to be like that for the next couple of weeks, except for the fact that the next couple of weeks is we're going to be off. We're not going to be here and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have a break for Christmas, which is quite nice, to be honest, because last year was an absolute nightmare trying to arrange various people at various times over Christmas and being half cut and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of time off over Christmas, and then we'll come back in the new year and we'll catch up with all the news desk in the new year. And I'm willing to bet that there'll be about 10, 12 different people that have been talking with English. And it's talking. So that's the agent's job. Can I find my player a better deal? And as we've seen before, sometimes they do, sometimes they stay where they are. So that's all it is. It's that time of year when stuff happens. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a wander down last weekend. And let's be absolute bang up front with this. It's not going to be a long wander. It's going to be a 2-minute game review, because what's gone is gone. What's done is done. And we move on.
And you can't bring yourself to talk any longer about the Scarlets.
I haven't had enough alcohol and it's not strong enough. And fuck me, if I necked a bottle of vodka now, I think I'd be about right. No, I'm not. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, Harley, mate. That stuff that looks lethal. So
it's only 20%. It's just really foul.
I can imagine. Fig, elderflower, and fig. And anyway.
I'm not going to be constipated tomorrow. That's all I know.
Right, let's go in chronological order then. So I'll go first, okay, with Scarlett's performance on Friday night, and we knew this was going to be a tough one, but the disappointing bit was the manner of the performance. You know, I'd live now with, I'd be quite happy with somebody putting a bit of effort in, and it just didn't seem like it. And I think that's the disappointing thing from a Scarlet's point of view, was the effort and the attitude that was on display. And it's not been the first time this season that I've said that. You know, it's not the first time that I've said about, have we got the right attitude to go and actually try and take these teams on? You know, it was basically a Georgian national side minus a couple of stars, but it was, you know, they're a decent team. You know, they pushed Gloucester close the week before. I think they'll push a lot of teams quite close this year, but we were just dog shit on Friday. And, you know, a lot of the chat since has been, you know, Dwayne Peel, the coaching team, all of this kind of stuff, which we'll cover a lot more in the Scarlet's pod, Scarlet's Fever pod, which we share the links to and all of that. So if it is your particular kettle of fish about do we keep Dwayne Peel or not, my personal view is it's hard to get rid of him right now. I think probably at the end of the season, most coaches sign a contract. They'll sign a 5-year contract and there'll be a 3-year break. This is the end of his 3rd season. So at the end of your 3rd season, there's usually a contract negotiation where if you're not complete horse shit, you just carry on. But if you are, then you're out. And so I think we wait till the end of the season, and purely from a financial point of view, if you sack him now, who takes over? You know, any one of the 3 guys that got brought in at the start of the season, Albert van der Berg, I mean, has found the reverse gear for the forwards pretty fucking quick. I know it's difficult finding, you know, bringing 3 new coaches in and going, right, okay, let's get everybody gelled, let's get everybody move forward, let's go. But bare minimum, you want your team to kind of maintain the level that you were at last season, and we haven't. We've gone backwards. So, you know, I'm not saying Dwayne Peel's definitely going to go. I think some of the other coaching team are going to go, but if you listen to the Scarlet's pod after this, our opinion is that there's stuff happening inside that club that has been going downhill for, you know, internally that club's been going downhill for a while, and we need to put a stop to it. So if I just share a little bit of our experience as a pod, Yeah, so the Scarlets pod is 12 months older than everyone else. Okay, and the Scarlets pod has been consistently banging on the door of the Scarlets. You know, I had contacts inside the Scarlets. Martin had contact inside the Scarlets, and we give it, yeah. We'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. We'll send you this. We'll send you that. We'll send you, you know, recordings of player interviews, and you can put that on there and all that kind of stuff. Fuck all happens. Yeah. We then get warnings as soon as we start criticizing what's happening. Well, we're not going to work with you now because you're slagging off the club. Yeah. Nobody from the club will interact with us. We're now getting warnings from the club's official photographer for using photographs here. We're promoting the Scarlets. We're sharing Scarlets. Oh, well, no, like you're using our photographs without permission and all of this kind of stuff. It's completely the wrong way around. When we started so I started all the other groups. Yeah, I started all the other pods. I started the Ospreys pod, and as much as that killed me, we inside a week, James, we had the Ospreys director messaging us, can I come on the pod? Can I talk directly to friends? Yeah. You messaged the media team last week, James, inside an hour. Inside an hour, bang, message back. Yeah, great, let's have a coffee. We did the same with Cardiff. Yeah. When we started Cardiff, we said, right, okay, let's message Cardiff. Let's just let them know. Bang. Yeah, within an hour, let's have a coffee. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. Jamie, you've interviewed, former Dragons players, this, that, and the other. We've been told flatly at the Scarlets, we're not allowed to approach any current players or any former players that are still associated with the club. Yeah.
And silly, isn't it? That's really silly, that is.
We're there, yeah. We're trying to connect with supporters. We're trying to bring people in with a connection in between, like the local game, the community game, and we've got Scarlett telling us, don't do that. So, I mean, quite naturally, I go, right, fine, fuck you. We're going to do what we want. So, what are you going to do? You're not going to interact with us, or no? But that shouldn't be the way the club interacts with any supporter, any supporter at all. So, the other stuff that's happening inside the club that needs resolving. I don't necessarily feel that it's the coaching team as a whole, but I feel that we get to the end of the season and numerous contracts are going to be up that were probably renewed a couple of seasons ago that shouldn't have been. But I think Dwayne Peel's going to feel the full wrath of it at the end of the season, unless something changes. Something might just click and we might suddenly go, hey, right, there we go. If the attitude changes and the effort changes, I can see him staying. If it doesn't, I can't.
I have to say, though, I do feel a little bit bad because last week we had a good laugh, didn't we? At your expense, we take the piss out the Scarlets, and I said it would be funny if they lost to Black Lion. And to be fair, it was funny a little bit, and we did have a good laugh about it, all of us, on the WhatsApp group, because you don't laugh, you cry. But then there's a serious point to this as well. Yes, it was a terrible result for the Scarlets. This was not a good result for Welsh rugby either, and it does make you wonder with the budget cuts coming in. And I'm not saying they lost to the Black Line because of budgets, but it does make you wonder with the further cuts coming down the line, seeing us lose, to teams like that could be the norm. And that's my big concern. So yes, on the one hand, we had a bit of a laugh about it, but on the other hand, this was not a good night for Welsh rugby. And that game, like you go back and watch at the start of the game, Scots got off to a great start. I mean, the Black Lion were giving away penalties left, right, and centre. They had no functioning line-out whatsoever. They had a yellow card. Scarlets score from 15. You're thinking, Scarlets are going to win this comfortably.
Yeah.
They didn't score a single point after that. Yeah. And that's just
75
unacceptable.
Minutes. 75
that's unacceptable. I know.
It's not
absolutely unacceptable.
They didn't have opportunities at goal and things like that. They just chose to go to corner, even though their line-out's been awful.
Yeah,
things like that.
But it's clear that something's not right there, is there? Something's not right in the Scarlets. And the one name that keeps cropping up all the time is John Daniels. Yeah. That's the one name the supporters keep on saying is John Daniels. Not so much Dwayne Peel now, but they're looking at the hierarchy and the running of the club because something is clearly not right there.
Yep.
I think a big problem goes back to the reason why...
But I said at the start of the season, I said, we need to find a way to get Easterby back into the Scarlets. And for me, that's where you bring somebody in with international class who knows what they're doing. He knows the Scarlets. He knows the Scarlets way. He's got an international credibility. He wants to come home. Bring him in as director of rugby and do it now.
One of the big things for me is just the huge risks they've taken, because they've brought in Peel, who's never been a head coach before. Right, he's been an attack coach. He's been attacking backs. Then they bring Jared Payne in, who's only ever done defence. But the reason he left Ulster is because he wants to be an attack. He wants to be an attack coach. And bear in mind, everyone at Ulster wants Payne back because their defence has gone to shit because he was such a good defence coach. And actually, if you look at their attacking shape, it looks more like a defensive line. It's something that Hughes commented on Scarlet's pod, and it's something we talked about during that game. They've run a flat line. They don't run a shape. And all right, that will occasionally pick the odd lazy defender hole, but when it doesn't work, it just ends up looking shit, and you're hoping for an individual moment of brilliance.
Like I said, that's the stuff we'll talk about.
The best Scarlets have looked under Peel is when Lee Blackett was there as an advisor. So you had a senior coach who was sort of helping things on, and I think losing all that experience has fucked them over.
But that's the stuff we'll talk about on the Scarlet Spot. Yeah. So if anyone wants to join in with us and have a fun Christmas, then that's the way to start it. So,
can I say something very quickly? You are like a Scarlets away shirt because you spent half the fucking pod plugging the Scarlets Fever.
Yeah, fuck it. But that's it.
No,
we're gonna. I don't want to spend too long on it on here because we're already an hour in. So we've barely done half of it.
He doesn't want to talk about it. He wants to move on. It's understandable.
No, we've spoken about it on Scarlet's Fever before, that there are issues that need to be solved. Anyway, Dragons Dragons versus Francois.
Francois.
I was running it through my head. Palwas. And then as soon as I went, Francois, what a dick. Anyway, how was your game, Jane?
Yeah, so Po 21, Po 24, Dragons 21. Late gasp, heartbreak, unfortunately. Just to say, I didn't see this game because it was being streamed, it was behind the paywall. I know you did. You won't tell me how you watched it, though, so it's obviously through dodgy ways. But that's absolutely fine because you can probably give me more information than what I can give then. So, Dragons made 9 changes for this game, which later became 10 because Bradley Roberts pulls out. So, this is a much changed Dragons team. Replaced by James Benjamin, who actually took his try really, really well, in fairness. Friend of the Dragons pod, showed great gas. So the first thing to say is, with all those changes, this was very encouraging that we pushed a team who have been unbeaten at home right to the very end. That's encouraging for me. So there's that. And this was a team that's containing youngsters such as Ewan Rosser, Brodie Coughlin, Luke Yendall, Ryan Woodman, and George Young. So, that's the encouraging thing. In terms of the game itself, I mean, I was pleased with the effort, but the tries the Dragons conceded were very soft, I have to say. Like I said, I've only seen 2.5-minute highlights. Very soft tries. And I was reading Dave Flanagan's comments after the game, and he said, our errors are through the roof. For the 3 tries that we conceded, we're in control of all 3, and we need to be better. Now, lads, how many times have I said on you and on the Dragons pod about the errors? And they don't seem to be learning lessons today. Every single game, there's a high error count. And at what point are the players going to learn? Because that try, I don't know if you've seen the highlights, they concede a try just before halftime, which is never a good time to concede a try. Poe overthrow a line-out. And I think it's Harry Keddy. Was it James Harry Keddy? He gathers. It looks like Harry Keddy. It's hard to see.
Dragons overthrow the line out to Harry.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Keddy. Oh, no, okay. So
Dragons overthrow the line out to Harry Keddy to try and generate game lines so they can clear their lines, and then they fuck it up.
Yeah. So all he has to do is to hold on to the ball, and then they can clear their lines. And then for some weird reason, he just decides to fling a wild pass. It's gathered by Poe, and then number 8 goes over and scores. I mean, it's just dumb shit like that lets the Dragons down, you know? And it's just really frustrating that every single week I'm having to talk about errors and individual errors, and lessons don't seem to be learned. But yeah, it's just really disappointing. Again, on the plus side, it was good to see the likes of Kai Evans returning, who had a very good game, I understand. Great to see Gonzalo Bertrand back. Tane Basham was back as well. Rodrigo Martinez as well. It's good to see him back. That's going to improve our scrum with a bit of luck. Reading a match report, Luke Yandel comes out this game very well. So he comes on to replace Chris Coleman, and he wins a really good scrum penalty. His defence was good. And I've been saying for a little while now that Luke Yandel should be above Chris Coleman in the pecking order because he can actually scrummage. He's only young, but he's a really good talent. And yeah, I think that Dave Flanker needs to be giving Luke Yandel a lot more opportunities than he's been given it. But no, disappointing result. It's horrible to lose at the last minute. It's gutting. But they are in a very good position in their pool. So they're third. You know, they're on 6 points. They got Zebra up next in Europe. If they win that, they're more or less through. So it's not all doom and gloom. And the mantra in Europe is always you win your home games, you take bonus points on the road. Dragons have done that. So we are in a good position. But I do feel like it was an opportunity blown as well. So it's mixed feelings for me. But yeah, great effort. But just disappointing to lose in that manner, isn't it? When you concede in the 80+ minute, it's a tough one to take. So yeah, pros and cons, and for me about that, mixed feelings really.
So talking about sides that lose in the last couple of minutes, let's talk to the experts. So Harley, how did Cardiff get on?
I think we can be overly positive when you think about the player of the match was earning the same amount as the entire Cardiff backline. It's, you know, if you put it in that perspective, it's great. And, you know, the fact we only lost by 5. And actually, I think the Harlequins Toulouse game also sort of puts last week into perspective for us because they conceded the same amount of tries without scoring that many more. It was a proper batshit game. It was definitely not a game to watch half cut because I'd just come from playing for the twos, and you know we'd had a bit of a Christmas social, so you know I'd had a few beers. I'm trying to catch up with it. I have to watch it again on the Sunday to make sure I hadn't imagined half the shit. But it was a really interesting game. I loved it. I thought I would have rathered a better result, but it was great. Thought our young back row stood up quite well. You can see where Cardiff lost it though when you just look at the try scorers. You've got legit big boy Cock and a Singer, legit big boy Ollie Lawrence. Then you got Alfie Barbary going off the back of them all, and then 2 for Kutsia. So again, a nice big South African. We when we were in open play, we looked better than Bath. As soon as Bath got the ball and tightened it up and started punching holes, we just didn't have a hope in hell. We just got massively outmuscled in those bits. But the fact we only lost by 7 was, I mean, admittedly in part due to Finn Russell missing 3 conversions.
Your set piece.
Who chose him for man of the match, by the way? Sorry, because I was in the pub watching it.
The set piece was too bad, apart from the Maul defence. I thought
the replacement props didn't do themselves any justice, I thought, and that was noted by a lot of people. And it's not me ragging on Rhys Carey, and I will rag on Rhys Carey. He's a lump of shit.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
but no, genuinely, like, as speaking as a prop. It's so when your scrum is holding up, because I thought Azarati was brilliant. I thought Azarati had one of his better games.
I don't think it's necessarily. I think a big part of it as well is when we took off Teddy Williams, and then we had Teddy Williams is a big lump to have behind your tight head, and then we put him on for Josh Turnbull, who isn't small, but he's not that hard, that big tight headlock. I mean, this is where really we're hugely missing Tamani. Like, if you like bring Tamani off the bench in the second row.
I don't think Martin didn't have a good game as he did in Toulouse. Didn't have as big an impact. And when you look at his opposite number in Barbary, and just how good Barbary was.
Barbary was robbed of player of the match. That is fucking TNT sport narrative.
Right, can I ask you this question, right? Because I watched this game in the pub. There was no sound. Now, I thought man of the match would have been Ollie Lawrence because I thought he was really good for that. That was my man of the match from watching it. Who chose Finn Russell to be man of the match? Yeah, but who chose it? I want to know on commentary.
I think it was Ben Kay.
Oh,
no. Announced by Ben Kay.
Ben Kay wasn't on.
I can't remember the Bafe was on comms, but it was He wasn't the pundit. It's usually when the pundits that choose. But
Because I love Finn Russell, but I didn't think he went play the match.
I think he had a shit game. He wasn't great at all. Like I actually think, and I had messaged from a couple of other people. They actually thought the beer had a better game.
De Beer was very
but
good.
It's the narrative, isn't it? Because they think Finn Russell's going to be a great post-match interview. I said, for me, I thought Alfie Barbary he caused us so many problems. It allowed people like Lawrence and Copeland Singer and everyone else to look good because he just absolutely dismantled our defence, and we're so busy scrambling, we haven't got time to get out. I do think Bath made hard work of it, and it did take that last-minute try to seal it for them.
The ones on comms, by the way, were Dave Rogers, was lead commentator, who I want to give a shout out to, who was absolutely fantastic.
He was a fantastic. He called the game really well. I just don't know who the pundit was that called man of the match.
The two beside him were Flats and Shanks.
Oh, that's
right. Okay, probably Flatman then, was it? I wonder.
A bit of Lee's soul just left when he heard Shanks was on BT Sport, TNT Sport.
There it goes again.
Of course, it'd been Flats and Shanks because you've got an ex-Cardiff and ex-Bath player. And I remember I watched this half cut, and then when I rewatched, I watched the game. I wasn't really paying attention to the comms. But
my favourite part of that game was De La Rua finding out he's schizophrenic and passing to no one. Because clearly a Bath player
so bizarre.
On your left, and De La Rua's just lobbed it to the left, and he's like, oh,
genuinely, I was just like, that's one of the bits I had to rewatch, was because I was like, did that happen? Did he just pass the thing?
That's a dick of the day move right there. That's doing a pint of the head.
That is a boot. That is your muddy boot full of beer. That.
Okay.
That was worse than the one where I just got stepped by the opposition 8 on Saturday.
Let's move on quickly to the Ospreys game then, because time is progressing. So, James, give us your rundown on the Ospreys match.
As I said in the tweet on the IRE Twitter account, look, I can sit here and list all the reasons, the contextual reasons why we were going to lose this game. And I'm going to. We lost. Seriously, no. Losing Morgan Morris and Keelan Giles before the game is huge.
I'd say one more than the other.
But you say that Keelan Giles' experience. Harry Houston looked like a sheep, a lamb in headlights out there. He was defensively all over the place. Yeah, he's very quick and moved with the ball well. But at least with Keelan Giles,
a like-for-like replacement.
Defensively, Keelan Giles knows where to stand is a good start. But then when you lose Morgan Morris as well, who's been your captain, one of the main sources of ball carrying, blah, 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 it's brilliant. Montpellier, they would have had this game penciled in from day one. We beat them twice last year, once on their home turf. They were out for fucking blood. And you could see that from minute one. Their offloading game was unreal. Garbisi was brilliant. Leo Colley was brilliant. Sam Simmons, the face like a discount Michael Fassbender looked brilliant. But look, a team with a budget of 25 million versus a team that has Harry Houston, who's 12 in it. It was always going to go one way. I'm disappointed we didn't put up more of a fight. There were bits in the game where we genuinely looked physical and we looked decent. The scrum went really well. I wouldn't have expected anything different from Tom Bolton and Smith and Derry Lake. Derry Lake starts, continue to impress, 100% off the line out again. I want to quickly talk about the refereeing because Ospreys conceded 7 penalties in this game and conceded 3 yellow cards. I have no issue with the yellow cards whatsoever. They were cynical actions, and cynical actions should lead to yellow card, especially in the areas of the field that they were conceded in. I have no issue with that. I'm putting that on the record right now. What I do have an issue with is the Montpellier scrums, particularly their starting loosehead, gave away 3 penalties, and they gave away, I think, 4 penalties altogether. Montpellier then conceded 15 penalties over the course of 18 minutes. The referee didn't even give their captain a talking to say your penalty count is going up. This is where I'm at. The next one could be a card. Some Scottish fella, I don't know his name. I don't think he.
I was going to say, it
It's a
sounds
Scottish
very
fella.
familiar to a
I
Scottish
don't
ref we
even
had
think
recently.
he had. I don't even think he had that bad of a game. Like, he got the big calls right. It's just the fact that when a team concedes 15 penalties, even at the shit level I play at, if my team concedes 15 penalties, someone's at least getting fucking talking to. No, at least the front row. Like, if I concede 3 penalties in a game, I'm getting a talking to and maybe a yellow card. I know that's coming.
You'd have liked the ref we had on Saturday. He was just pinging everything and then just forgot how many penalties he'd given away. We were averaging a penalty every 9 seconds.
This is what I mean. You just want consistency from it. And look, but it doesn't gloss over the fact we weren't good enough. We didn't. We should have taken the points more often. All fair dues to Montpellier. They were brilliant. I think they're dark horses for this competition.
What another thing? Your attacking breakdown was woeful. That was
we weren't physical enough. And we know this. I think we just weren't physical enough, and that's the bottom line. And it's weird to say about an Ospreys pack and an Ospreys whether we weren't physical enough. We lost Nicky Smith quite early, and we lost Owen Watkin at halftime. They're two massive things. George North looked like he spent the weekend in Montpellier house hunting in fucking Provence because he was awful. He looked again, wasn't he? He looked like a man who had 1 foot out the door, which is annoying because he had a decent enough game against Benetton the week before. But it just shows our best centre partnership currently is Kieran Williams at 12, Owen Watkin at 13, because defensively Owen Watkin is very good. And this is where Harry Houston got left out to dry a bit, in the fact that you have a 13 who's, and Lee will appreciate this, doesn't know how to defend, and then you're leaving a winger who on his first ever start is having to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah,
so look, Ospreys were bad. It stings. We're just thankful that Scarlets lost on Friday, so we weren't the laughing stock of the weekend.
Just to quickly say, the referee was Anthony Woodford, but it was English. It was actually an all English.
He sounded Scottish, so I
Fuck, the Scots are going to rip you to pieces, man.
Oh,
fucking nothing worse than being called English.
I'll save you, James. Other than Holly Davidson, all Scottish officials are fucking wank.
No, I just question the consistency of the refereeing, that's all. In the fact that 15 penalties to 7, but it's a big one coming up. Yep. Can we go into we preview the next one?
So before we move on to festive derbies, and we will do festive derbies, I just wanted to say that we have this week launched our Christmas quizzes on YouTube, so they're on all our channels. So you have got one for each of the regions. Okay, there's a Scarlets one, there's an Ospreys one, there's a Dragons one, there is a Cardiff one, there is then a Welsh rugby one, there is then a URC quiz, there is then an international rugby quiz. Yeah, this is going to keep you busy all through Christmas because we aren't going to be here. So it's a little bit to remember us by over Christmas. When you're bored, when you're pissed, when you're down the club, to just dig out one of these, put them on the screen or whatever, and just have a crack at them because they're going to be good fun. They took fucking ages to put. They put a lot longer than I anticipated putting them together, and I'm still convinced that some of the answers that I've got there are not right. So by all means, come and argue with me. I'm not touching social media over Christmas, so argue all you want. Fucking crack on. It's not going to bother me. But enjoy them. They're a bit of fun. Just let us know how you get on, and we shall do it again next year. I'm saying that I'll probably start in June, but we'll have another crack at it next year. But do enjoy them. They're on our YouTube page, and we share them on all of our main pages as well. Okay, we were going to do listeners' questions, but we're overrunning. But basically, listeners' questions this week were: I like this biscuit. This is my cat. Are Cardiff dodgy money? And can we have an Anglo-Welsh league? So there you go. Make of that what you will. What else was on there? Oh, what can Santa bring me for Christmas? That was a good one. That was Martin. That was fan of the show. Martin was, what can Santa bring us for Christmas? So maybe we'll run that on socials over Christmas period, and we'll just get some comments in on that because what do you want off Santa this Christmas? Most of us have gone more money and a functioning scrum. So there we go.
Yeah.
So let's start with. So we're like I said, we're not going to be here next week. The week after, we'll be back January the 9th, 10th, sometime around there, 8th, 9th, something like that. Okay. So we're going to do the Boxing Day games and the New Year's Day games in one go. So we're just going to preview one game each, and it'll be whichever the home game we've got over the period is. So first up, first game on Boxing Day is Cardiff versus the Dragons at Cardiff Arms Park, which means Harley, it is over to you, my friend. Give us the rundown on
I'm going to shoot out the only positive, and that is it's almost sold out completely.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I can't believe close to 12,000 people want to go see what I think Jamie and I can agree on is the worst game of rugby ever to be, which is Cardiff Dragons on Boxing Day. I don't know who's fit left alive from the Dragons after their exploits, hopefully enough to make it a decent game. Cardiff are probably going to win, which means they're going to lose now because I've predicted they'll win, and that's always what happens. It's not going to be great. It never is. It just, I hate it. I hate playing the Dragons because we never should deserve to win, and we somehow do. And then I feel really bad for the Dragons because they should have won that game. But a bit like Scarlets getting their 2 guaranteed wins against Cardiff, we've got to get our 2 guaranteed wins against the Dragons. It's just the way Welsh rugby goes.
Okay, we'll do predictions right at the very end, but yeah, okay, fair enough. So the next game on Boxing Day will be Scarlets Ospreys. So who knows what Scarlets team is going to turn up? Really, we're perfectly capable of playing some decent rugby. We've just forgotten how to do it. And with all the shit that's going to happen in between now and then, and there is going to be a load of shit that happens in between now and then, I'm fed up of saying I expect a reaction from the Scarlets because it's just not, we shouldn't be needing a reaction. But this is the Ospreys, second time in a month. We need to pull something out, and the boys need to show that actually they're there to play. Ospreys never like coming over the bridge, and rightly so. I can't see. I mean, pretty much every season I've gone to this game when I've been available. First time in, COVID aside, but first time that I've been available where I'm just not interested in going to this game. That's how bad things are at the minute. And there's other stuff going on and all that kind of stuff. But I can't see it being a sellout. Can't see it being fantastic. I think it's going to be a turgid affair. Yeah, it'll be whatever it'll be. Ospreys will keep the ball tight. Scarlets will sit there and go, oh, look, Ospreys are keeping the ball tight. And that's pretty much how it'll end. So,
no,
yeah.
It won't. You'll win. We don't win at Scarlets, unfortunately. We don't. It's been about fucking 9 years since we won, and we only drew last year because
Is it that late?
Jonathan,
Really?
Yeah.
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's
Bloody
been
hell.
like ridiculously long.
You didn't deserve to win last year.
No,
Typically
we got out to a lead. We let you back in, and then you made that stupid decision to go for the corner rather than the 3.
Yeah.
We get the ball back, go upfield. Rhys Davis manages to get over,
last minute.
And then Jack Walsh, who last year had a bootleg Toblerone, managed just to slot it for 23 all. But we just don't travel, and all our
don't travel well. You've got to travel like about 15 minutes, mate.
Yeah, but you got to go. You don't
need to travel it. You could walk it.
I went to say we don't travel well to the Park Scarlets. We just never have. We hate going down there. It is a mental block. We talk about your mental block, Jamie, with Cardiff, but we fucking hate going down there. I do expect a response from the Ospreys. I'm if what I've heard is Morgan Morris and Keelan Giles might be okay. Keelan Giles is more of an injury worry than Morgan Morris. I definitely think they would have taken Morgan out as a precautionary, in the fact that I don't want him going to get, fucked up by Sam Simmons and Jan Serfontein. I'd rather him be running at, Archie Hughes and Charlie Titcombe in a week's time. We're sweating on the big three, apart from Morgan Morris, are Rhys Davis, Kieran Williams, and Jack Morgan. They're the big three we're sweating on. And you saw on the weekend that where we lacked physicality at the breakdown, they weren't there, and their physicality at 12, where Kieran should be. So if they're back, I'll breathe a bit. I'll breathe a bit and sleep a bit nicer. But
okay, well, we keep saying that we're going to have Sam Lousy back, and I think if Sam Lousy comes back, we're a different team. But there's also a bit of me that goes, Sam Lousy's already signed to go and play in France, and they're just trying to hold on to him and get some compensation for him. So there we go. Right. So New Year's Day, Ospreys host Cardiff. So James, make of that one what you will.
None of this running rugby bollocks. It will be tight. It will be scrums. Tickets are going really well at Brewery Field, from what I can see. So really hats off. I've got to sort my ticket out this week, because I've got to claim that. I can't wait for this one. I love the New Year's Day stuff against Cardiff. It's always a fucking belter of a game.
It's always fucking horrid.
Yeah, but that's why I love it. It's fucking brilliant. It's always like I love it. The one last year had everything I wanted. That everything I wanted in a rugby game was in that game last year. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. I love the Brewery Field. It's probably my favourite rugby ground outside of St Helens. It just has that old school feel. Well, it is old school.
Okay.
Can I just say, the thing I've hated about the Ospreys Cardiff game is it's everything Cardiff tried to do to Scarlets and fail. And Ospreys do it to us. Like, we try to outmuscle the Scarlets, but then they do some bullshit in the backs, and then they win. And it's really frustrating, because you know what's going to happen. You know Nicky Smith's going to fold half the pack in half by himself. Reece Henry's going to be sort of
Absolutely.
And then Reece Henry's going to come on, and he's just going to sing Elvis whilst bulldozing everyone and doing a perfect 50-22. Every player in Cardiff is going to forget how to catch a ball again. It's inevitable. I hate it. I really hate it. The big positive is, at least we don't have to go to fucking Swansea.com, because it is a fucking ball ache to get to. It's depressing as hell to look into.
What? It's me that ball ache to get to. It's
morgue.
one train, you silly fucker. It's one train, and you can walk there.
It's literally an echo chamber.
Where you literally have to go through Port Talbot, and that is an ordeal people shouldn't have to deal with. Apart from Scarlets fans going from Pontcanna to Park Scarlets.
Anyway, right, Jamie, a little bit of fun for you before you preview Dragons and Scarlets. You remember last year's New Year's Day game? I think it was like the second week of January, might have been actually, where Dragons played Scarlets.
Yes, I was there.
Ross Moriarty and Callum Mahoney. So last weekend, Brive played Van in France. Moriarty is number 8 for Brive. Callum Mahoney was number 8 for Van. So yeah, I haven't seen the highlights of that game yet, but yeah. So Dragons and Scarlets, mate, what do you make of it?
I miss Moriarty. Okay, Dragons v Scarlets. It'll be interesting to see how these two teams go into this game. Are they going to come into this game on the back of wins or defeats? Let's just assume the Dragons will lose to Cardiff, because they always do. If Scarlets somehow beat Ospreys, they come to Ronnie Parade in great spirits then. And I feel like we're scrapping it out with the Scarlets to avoid being bottom. And I said to you in the WhatsApp group, even though Dragons are bottom, the results don't lie, the table doesn't lie. We are where we are because we haven't been good enough. I still feel we're a better team than the Scarlets right now. I feel like we've got more green shoots, and I feel that once we get all our injured players back, I think we're going to be a lot more competitive. But I am looking forward to this game. Ticket sales are going well. Are you going to be there, Lee? Will I see you at all? No?
No, mate.
Don't fancy
no.
making the trip down here in the car then, do you?
No, I get scared when I get to Pontebrun, mate. I look at the price of petrol and I go, oh, I'm not going any further. I turn around. No, I will be in London then for my wife's birthday. So, yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough. But always good games between Dragons and Scarlets. I always feel like when we play the Ospreys at Rodney Parade, I always feel like we can beat them. Even though we've got no right to, even though they are much stronger on paper than the Dragons, I always feel like we can turn the Ospreys over. We normally do. And I feel the same about the Scarlets. I just feel that when we play the Scarlets, for me, that's a winnable game. And I think this is definitely a winnable game, whatever happens at the Arms Park. So I think we got to target the set piece, which I know is a strange thing to say because Dragons have not got a strong scrum, but I feel Scarlet's tight five is really weak and is vulnerable. So, yeah, it'll be a good day, good occasion. And I'm looking forward to it immensely. It should be a good day out.
Okay, right. So finally then, before I say goodbye and all of that kind of stuff, we're going to go through predictions for festive period. Yeah. So don't fanny on about stuff. Just give me your fucking prediction. James, I'm looking at you. When I ask you for the Scarlet Osprey score, don't tell me how shit the Scarlet's pack has been for the last 6 weeks, okay? Just give me the fucking score, man. Right, Harley, you first. Hey, Harley's been a good boy. Harley's bought Teacher and Apple, and Harley's already filled his in on the sheet. So,
Right,
Harley,
right,
Cardiff be Dragons.
Cardiff by 7. Scarlets Ospreys, Ospreys by 1. Ospreys Cardiff, Ospreys by 12. And Dragons Scarlets, Dragons by 5.
Dragons by 5.
I need to write these down.
I've lost track of the fixtures now. You said them so fast.
Okay.
7-1-12-5.
So, James, your prediction for Cardiff versus the Dragons?
Can a big earthquake happen when both teams fall into it? No, I think this will be Cardiff by 6.
6, okay. And Scarlet Ospreys?
Oh, fucking hell. Ospreys by 2.
I love the way you resent the fact that you're predicting Ospreys to win that, mate. Yeah, cracking that is.
I love how he's going 1 point either side of my predictions just to try and
Yeah,
get ahead
but-
of me in
I
the
couldn't
league.
fucking
mean,
hear
he
your
can't-
predictions, so I'm with Jamie on this one. I couldn't
Yeah,
fucking hear what you said.
It's like a
So
machine gun.
fast. I lost
That's-
track.
You said don't funny about.
Yeah, no, I'm with Harley. Well done. Right, James, Ospreys versus Cardiff.
Ospreys by 3.
Ospreys by 3.
I'd take that.
And Dragons Scarlets.
Dragons by 7.
7. Okay, Jamie, you'll go, my friend. Cardiff Dragons.
Yeah, well, we all know about the mental block, don't we? There's no point going into it. I'll go Cardiff by 10.
10. Oof. Okay, Scarlets Ospreys.
I just can't see Scarlets winning this. I don't think they've got the front 5 to compete with the Ospreys, so I'm going to go Ospreys by 8.
8. Okay. Ospreys Cardiff.
It's in Bridgend, isn't it? Yeah, Bridgend. I'm going to go Ospreys by 4. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, but I think Ospreys are just edge it.
Okay, and Dragons Scarlets.
Yeah, I'm back in Dragons. I'm going to say Dragons by 6 on that one.
6. Oof. Okay, so I've got to move across the screen now. That's going to push me out. So Cardiff v Dragons. I'm going to go Dragons by 1. Just to be different. Fuck it, I'm going to throw caution to the wind there. Dragons by 1. Scarlets Ospreys. Scarlets by 1. Thank you. Ospreys Cardiff. Cardiff by 1.
It's a theme developing, yeah.
Is that the closest you can come to predicting an Ospreys win?
Yeah, and Dragons Scarlets.
Scarlets by 1.
Dragons
May
by
as well.
1. Dragons by 1. just to
No,
finish.
he thinks it's going to be a battering.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the league table. I am, boys. I'm thinking of the league table. It's a marathon and all of that kind of stuff. So, just quickly in 3 or 4 words. So, I want you to sum up the first half of the season for your relative region. So after every game, we do a 3-word thought. So, give me your 3-word thoughts on the first half of the season so far. So, I'll go first, just because and mine will be bag of shit. That would sum up my Scarlet season so far, which doesn't say much for Cardiff, I'll be honest, Harley. So Harley, you're next. Your 3-word thoughts on the first half of your season.
Better than expected.
Better than expected. Okay, Jamie.
Mine is quite simply too many errors.
See, Jamie thought about his. Jamie gave consideration there. James, your 3-word thoughts on the first half of the season.
Please, no more.
Or a 4th word for the word injuries.
Just make it stop.
Make it stop. Right, gents. So before we finish, it's a quick reminder that quizzes are on our YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. Please do them, because they are a bit of fun. And at some point we will all do them and publish our scores, and that'll be quite embarrassing. I can't do it, obviously, because I've written them. So yeah, but it'll be quite good. So I just wanted to take a couple of seconds from myself and just say a couple of words to finish this year off with. So yeah, in the summer I went through quite a bit of shit, and had various parts of my insides removed and all of this kind of stuff. And the last couple of weeks, when you go into Christmas, like I had my birthday and Christmas and all that kind of stuff, and people start coming out of the woodwork, and you haven't seen you for a while and all of this, that, and the other, but they've all kind of known what's been going on. And it occurred to me that so many of my friends virtually the entirety of my friends, bar 1 or 2, are from the rugby family. So yeah, I was out last Saturday, and I was talking with a friend who happened to have gone through something similar to myself. He'd been in hospital 12 months ago, and he'd had a different kind of cancer, and he'd had that removed. And I've now got another friend who's in hospital with exactly the same symptoms that I had, sharing the same photos that I had, with tubes coming out of all sorts of places and having all of those kind of things. So yeah. And it occurred to me how strong the rugby family is. If it hadn't have been for, obviously, there's my friends, there's my family. My family put up with all sorts of stuff and got me through it. But then there's my rugby family, which I include you guys as my close family, and Carwyn and Reese as well. And we don't appreciate what the rugby family means to us until we really, really need it. And we'll sit here every week and we'll slag each other off, and we'll have all of that banter and all that kind of stuff. And it's good fun, and it makes you smile, and it puts a little bit of warmth in your heart. So my message to listeners over this Christmas is, firstly, thank you to listeners as well for sticking with us and still being there. But my message to you is to remember what the rugby family is, to remember what the rugby family is about. And if you're in a clubhouse or you're anywhere this Christmas, and you see someone who you think might be part of the rugby family, go and say hello. Particularly if there's an old guy sat in the corner of the clubhouse and not talking to anyone, just go and make him feel part of the rugby family. If there's a young kid that's come up to the seniors and maybe isn't quite fitting in or whatever, just go and make him part of the rugby family, because the rugby family means a lot to you when you need it to, and when you need the rugby family to be there for you, it will be there for you. So go and say hello, go and make somebody's Christmas. It might be the only time that guy's spoken to somebody for a couple of weeks or whatever, but go and make somebody's Christmas and remind them what the Christmas family is about, because the rugby family is all about, because yeah, it means a lot to me now. It means a lot more to me this Christmas than it did last Christmas. And the fact that we sit there and we go, this is what the rugby family is, actually means something to me now. So I wanted to say a big thank you. I wanted to finish the year by saying thank you. It's been different and difficult. And if it hadn't have been for you guys and the rugby family, then who knows where we would have been. So a big thank you to everyone. A big Merry Christmas. Have a fantastic Christmas, a fantastic New Year. We'll be back in the new year. And on that note, gentlemen, enjoy your rugby. I shall see you in 2024. All the very best.
Have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year.
Folks.